Hello friends, this video on direct and indirect speech part 1 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Topics to be covered in this lesson are introduction, direct and indirect speech, direct to indirect speech, indirect to direct speech, and examples. So what do you think will we study in direct and indirect speech? So what do we mean by speech? So someone speaking, that's the first thing that comes to our mind when we think of speech. So now let's look at this example. Ritu asked Meera, "Do you speak English?" Okay, so what's happening here? A conversation is happening between two people, and they are Ritu and Meera. So they are talking to each other and they are asking something, like Ritu is asking something to Meera. And what is she asking? Do you speak English? So what's happening? It's a conversation that's happening. So basically Ritu is speaking. She's telling something or she is asking something to Meera. So this is a speech because someone is speaking. Okay. Now, there are two ways in which a conversation can happen. One way is the person or the speaker himself or herself speaks out whatever he or she wants to say or whatever he or she wants to ask. For example, in this case, Ritu is the one who is willing to ask something and she is the one who is asking something, right? So the original speaker is speaking in this case. So this is what we call as direct speech. Why direct speech? Because the speech directly comes from the speaker's mouth. So here the speaker is Ritu and she is speaking it. So therefore this is direct speech. So what is indirect speech? Now the same conversation can be reported in a different way. Now let's say that the same conversation has happened between Ritu and Meera, but now it's not Ritu who is, kind of speaking it directly. Rather, the conversation or this entire thing is reported by someone else. So this man you see here is someone else. So let's say that this man is telling that Ritu asked Meera if she spoke English. So you see the overall meaning of the two sentences are the same. But in the first sentence, the speaker is directly speaking. So that's why it is direct speech. Whereas in the second sentence, the speaker has obviously spoken it, but right now the entire conversation is reported by a third person. So this man is the third person who is reporting the entire conversation between Ritu and Meera. So this is called indirect speech. So are you able to see some difference between the direct speech and indirect speech? So in direct speech, you have the quotations. And why do you have the double quotes? Because you are putting the question in the exact words as asked by Ritu. So Ritu had asked Meera, "Do you speak English?" So you have put it in the exact words. So you have put it within the double quotes. So in direct speech, we always make use of double quotes because we put exact words of the speaker as it is. Whereas in indirect speech, we do not manipulate the content, but basically we put it in different words. For example, here this man is telling that Ritu asked Meera if she spoke English. Now Ritu didn't say she spoke English. Ritu told, "Do you speak English?" So basically we are not putting it in the exact words as told by Ritu, but we are manipulating it just to show the scenario that happened. So this man here is the reporter because he is reporting what the conversation that had happened between Ritu and Meera. So I hope that this example is giving you an idea about what is direct speech and what is indirect speech. Direct speech means the speaker directly speaks and the speech is given in the exact words of the speaker and therefore they are put in the double quotes. Whereas in indirect speech, the speech is quoted by a reporter in his or her words. Okay, so now let's see what is direct speech. So in direct speech, Direct speech quotes actual words of the speaker. So actual words of the speaker are put into within the double quotes. For example, Sachi said, I have scored well in maths exam. So here, who is the speaker? Sachi is the speaker, right? And what is she saying? She's saying that I have scored well in maths exam. So these are her exact words. So we have put her exact words, put them in within the quotes, which tells that this is a direct speech. And what is indirect speech? Report the content said by the speaker without quoting exact words. So the exact words are not quoted, but the content, the meaning of the content doesn't change. The meaning of the content still remains the same, but it is not given in the exact words as spoken by the speaker. So since indirect speech is always reported by a third person whom we call as the reporter, so indirect speech is also known as the reported speech because a third person reports the conversation. So it is called reported speech. Now, can you write the same sentence in indirect speech? So in indirect speech, we would say, Sachi said that she had scored well in maths exam. So you see, the meaning doesn't change. The meaning is still the same, that Sachi had scored well in her maths exam. So that's the meaning of both the sentences. But in the first sentence, it tells us that what exactly Sachi had told. Like it's word by word the same thing which was told by Sachi. But in the second sentence, it's not in Sachi's word. However, the content or the meaning is the same. So someone else is telling, maybe I am telling that Sachi said that she had scored well in maths exam. Right? So there is a difference between the two sentences. So this is all about direct and indirect speech. So in this lesson, our aim would be to understand how do we change a conversation from direct speech to indirect speech. Right? Now, you might ask that, okay, why do we need to learn direct and indirect speech? Where do we use them? Now, you would have seen that when you read a story, or when you, for that matter, if you write a story, how would you write a story? So your story might have different characters, right? So there might be a prince, a princess, a king, a queen, and you will have to kind of write the conversations that's happening between them. So the conversation between the characters, how do you write that? So for that, you need direct and indirect speech. So everywhere you cannot use direct speech. Similarly, everywhere you cannot use indirect speech. So these two forms of speeches help you to pen down the conversations happening between people. Thank you. Please visit examfear.com for free quality education. You can learn with a simple 4-step learning process wherein you can watch video lessons, you can ask your questions, you can refer notes, and you can take a free online test. We have content for class 6 to 12 on physics, chemistry, mathematics, and biology along with practical videos. So please subscribe to our channel for daily updates. Thank you.